Okay, so let's continue on with the cortex and the different parts of the cerebrum. So it's a lot of it is going to be review. So I'm just going to highlight this again. Pre was primary, and that's motor, and then post was sensory, association areas. We'll get to the important part. Oh, Wernicke's is wordy, Broca's is broken. Wernicke's is wordy, Broca's is broken. There is a blood vessel that supplies, so it's called the middle cerebral artery, and it travels up into the brain here to actually supply this middle region. So you notice it's going to affect temporal, it could affect frontal, it depends on how far up it goes to parietal. But right over here, there's two important centers, and they're about kind of located around here. So there's one that is for speech production, right? So it's the generation of speech, and that's called the speech center. And then there's one that's a receptive area. So it receives information and then it communicates it to other parts of the brain. This one is called Wernicke's, and then this one in the front is called Broca's area. So Wernicke's is wordy, Broca's is broken. Wernicke's is wordy, Broca's is broken, right? And I believe this is a review, so let's just cover it in general. Wernicke's is wordy. That means, let's rehash the concept. If I have two different patients, and these patients had a stroke secondary to some kind of occlusion to the brain, right? This is a review. Wernicke's is wordy, Broca's is broken. Have two patients, one with each one distinctly damaged. The Wernicke's patient, if I tell them stand up, walk over to the light switch, turn the light on, they're going to say stand up, walk over to the light switch, turn the light on. And then the Broca's patient will actually stand up, walk over to the light switch, and turn the light on. While they're walking over, maybe they say something like parrot, oh my goodness, car, dog. So they're not able to communicate that they understand through words, but they're able to understand because comprehension occurs there, and they're able to process information and then go and follow through on your request. They probably can, if other areas are not affected, their ability to understand is there, so they can communicate through other means by writing or typing. That would be a fast way for them to understand what, or at least relay that they understand what you're requesting. So here we go. Wernicke's is wordy if I damage it, and Broca's is broken. This is the speech center. So Wernicke's is wordy, Broca's is broken, right here. So Wernicke's is wordy, Broca's is broken. And if I have an occlusion in an artery, right, a clot that blocks the supply of blood to this area, and I damage this part, then it's Broca's is broken. If I damage this part, then it's Wernicke's is wordy. If I have both, then I'm not able to understand and communicate back to you. I'm not able to speak or understand through hearing. But if I read, that's another pathway, right? So if I read information, I can probably type it back. So there's different deficits, and there's other ways that we can compensate. That's why we're fortunate in our ability to overcome some of the obstacles that we might have. So let's go through this. You guys can go over this. We already did this, right? We did all the different functions of different parts of the big brain, which are the lobes. Let's go fast, fast, fast. You guys, I'm not going to test you on this, but I will test you on this one. Brain waves. Woohoo! Alpha, beta, theta, data. Alpha, beta, theta, data. And what is that referring to? Well, we're simplifying it down to bats drink blood. Blah, ha, 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 ha. So bats drink blood. What does that mean? Bats drink blood. Bats drink blood. There's different levels and different brain waves that you're going to see. So bats, B-A-T-S, drink, and blood. So B waves or beta waves are seen when a patient is awake and eyes are open. Okay, so awake and eyes are open. So just going to simplify it down to that. And then alpha, you know, when you're in class and you're like, you're awake, but your eyes are just kind of closed. You can't really, I don't know, get past it, but you're awake with the eyes closed. And then this last one, theta, spindle, and delta, we're going to group it into sleep. And we're going to call it, what we call it is non-REM. What does REM mean? So most of us have heard this throughout our life. REM stands for rapid eye movement. And when does that occur? That's occurring when we're dreaming, right? It's almost like we're awake. So when we look at beta waves, you see them again when you have REM. That means when you're in your dream state, it simulates that you are awake even though you're not, and it simulates that your eyes are open even though they aren't, unless you're one of those creepy people that sleep like this and they're staring at you while they're sleeping. That's, yeah. Okay, so here we go. Batch drink blood. Simplest form for you guys to remember, these are beta waves, alpha waves, theta, spindle, and delta waves. And then we see beta waves again when we're dreaming, and there's rapid eye movement. It's almost like we're awake, and it's almost like our eyes are open. So let's go through what it is. Alpha waves, awake, eyes open. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, here we go. Beta waves, awake and eyes open. Alpha waves, awake but eyes closed. And that's what they look like. I'm not going to test you on that. Theta waves and delta waves, just remember that's associated with sleep. I know it says intensely frustrated adults, but don't worry. We're just going to group it into a general category. We're going to focus on alpha and beta. Those are the ones I usually test on. Hint. What are the different brain waves? There's batch drink blood, right? And when are they seen? Stages of sleep. REM versus non-REM. REM is rapid eye movement. You're going to see beta waves. Versus non-REM is any of the other sleep levels. And then what is epilepsy? Went over that. We said, what is epilepsy? It's basically groups of or different types of seizure patterns. So epilepsy is the condition of having seizures. What are seizures? An increase in activity of the nervous conduction or electricity going on in the brain. What are some of the forms of treatment? So we went over treatment for seizures. They would be similar to the treatment for epilepsy, right? Because epilepsy is a group of seizures. And what were the treatment options? To stop the cell from turning on or just cut it. So stopping the cell, what are the ions that we are associated with stopping the cell? There was, tell me, help me out. So there were 3 that we played around with, and there's actually 4. So there's another one, and this one is Depakote. I believe that's the mechanism. But primarily, if you look at most drugs, I'm not going to talk about the specialty drugs that they come up with. Most drugs are related to the movement of sodium, chloride, and potassium, especially when it comes to nerve conduction. So if I block sodium, I turn the cell off. If I encourage chloride, I turn the cell off. If I encourage potassium to leave, I turn the cell off. Anything that makes the inside of the cell negative will turn the cell off and help with reducing transmission of a signal. And what is the transmission? It could be electrical activity, right? So if I stop electricity, I stop the seizure. And the same thing goes for anxiolytics. If I stop the transmission of a signal, right, I reduce the transmission of the signal, then I no longer have that anxiety, that high anxiety. Same thing for pain meds, right? If I have nerve pain, then I want to stop the signal from being sent. It doesn't mean that you fix the problem. It just means that I stop the pain signal from being sent. So easy stuff, right? Isn't medicine great?